guys, it's Dog Vinyl again, and today I'm going to do a theme song. You guys can guess who this is. You guys guess it yet? Well, the English beat, or the beat. So let me turn that down and talk about today's show. So for today's show, we're going to do my top 10, what I call 80s college rock or 80s lost bands. And these are 10 bands, alphabetical, so they're not ranked one band better than the other. And I'm going to talk a little about each band. Each band has kind of an influence in the 80s. They're definitely tied to the 80s. Some of these bands were obviously formed before that. Some of them came from other bands and backgrounds. We'll talk a little about each one of them. I opened up with Big Shot by the band called the English Beat or the Beats. Very cool reggae, ska style music from the late 70s, early 80s. That album was their first album from 1980. So let's talk a little bit about this. So this is going to be 10 albums. Some of you may have heard of. Some of them are a little bit big in the 80s and some not so much. So this is going to be like a quick fun show I thought I'd do this week. And I thought I'd do this. So I called this the 80s college rock. And a lot of this stuff was in the 80s. I was in college in the 80s. I graduated college in 1990. My freshman year in 86. So a lot of this music was fresh in my mind. And we played it on CD or cassette or whatever we had. So let's start off with Adam and the Ants. And this album right here is King of the Wild Frontier. Very, very cool album. This is a cool album because this is the second Adam Ant album. His first album came out in 1979. This is the first one, King of the Wild Frontier. This really introduced the Burundi beat, that kind of do. Very primitive, very cool. And of course, there was a very theatrical band, Adam Ant, as you can see by looking at the band members right here. Very, very cool. Dressed up in these elaborate costumes. And he was very much theater-oriented. And very big on MTV. Obviously, he's more of a visual band, the kind of band you would want to see live or see on video formats. And pretty cool. Like I said, the Burundi beat. Now, they only had about 3 albums, and then he worked with, who did he work with? Karundi, I think it was. One of the other guys, yeah. And by 82, they kind of split up as Adam and the Ants to just Adam Ants. This is Adam and the Ants. And then after 82, it was just called Adam Ant. But this was Adam and the Ants, and he had things like Ant music, Ant rap. This had King of the Wild Frontier, a bunch of just really cool songs. Cool stuff, fun party music kind of thing, but definitely tied to the 80s. But definitely had a very big cult following and very good music. Very good stuff, very interesting. So I thought I'd put that out there. Now here's another blast from the past, if you guys remember U2. This is another Irish band, of course not as big as U2. This band was called The Alarm. Now when U2 was on tour in the 80s, they would back them up quite a bit. They would be the opening act for them. And they had one big hit called The Stand, which is on this album right here. This is really more of an EP. The Stand, Across the Border, Marching On, Lies of the Land for Freedom. And again, very cool band, has kind of a very Irish country kind of thing going on here with the singing. And again, very rhythmic band, very cool music. And this was really part of the punk new wave scene. I think they had 1 or 2 other albums, and this is really the big one. And this was the one that they really toured when they went on tour with U2. This was really the album they played most of when they were backing up U2, and they were their opening act. Cool music, and it's kind of cool to find. I found this on the shelves, $4 or $5. It's a great thing to have. But it is very much tied to the early 80s, the period when U2 wasn't the mega band that they became. And this is kind of back to the roots of it. So really cool. All right, the next band is a European band, continental band. I believe they're from Germany, I think, or Netherlands. And this band's called Aha. Now, they had a really big hit with Take Me On, with the cool video, with the computer graphics and everything. Very, very cool. Now, this album, let me grab my glasses. They're right up here. And let me take a peek at this one, because this one I got to remember, I believe they're European. I bought this album, to be honest with you, with not knowing much about it, just knowing that one song, of course. Take Me On, Train of Thought. I listened to the whole album. It was pretty cool. Pretty solid stuff. Tony Mansfield. And the band members on this one are really cool. We got the inner sleeve there, which is really cool. I don't know. Not telling me a lot of information on who the members of the band are. Of course, you can just look it up online, of course. But I'm trying to stay within the format of, like, the 1980s, where you didn't have online. So the only way you found out about the band is by buying the musical artifact that's right in front of you and gleaning the information off of this. Remixed by Johnny Radcliffe with Aha. Produced by Alan Turney. Aha Club, the Post Office. Yeah, it doesn't tell you the band members. Wow. So it looks like 3 major members right here. Maybe a trio, electronic oriented. Great song. Of course, Take Me On. Very vocal driven, very, very cool. Big hit, very big hit. After that, they really didn't have a lot of hits. I can't imagine they had too many albums after this, I'm pretty sure. But again, I think they are a Euro band. I mean, I could look them up. I should have probably looked them up real quick, but I was kind of concentrating on all the other bands. This was really kind of an afterthought. But again, they were probably one of the bigger bands from the 80s because they had such airtime on MTV. But also they made a big comeback. I've heard this song Take Me On used quite a bit recently. So very, 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 very cool. Let me turn the ring light off a little bit. So very, very cool. All right, next band is the one I started with. I Just Can't Stop It. This is called The Beat. Very cool textural album. The song I opened up with was Big Shot. This, of course, has that reggae, ska, rock and roll, heavy style, cool music. Always liked the album. I always liked the beat, or the English beat, if you want to call them, either way. Cool stuff. I have a couple of their albums. This is a really, really good one. This has some really good songs on it. And again, they start to, after the next album after this one, which I think is right over here, which is What's Happening, which, yeah, I got it right here. Look at that. That's why I love having albums nearby. It's right here. This one is more reggae and more African music, really cool percussions and stuff. So very, very cool. They were very big for a short period of time, and again, in the band, it kind of faded. Really cool music. Very, very cool to be. Very, very cool. Now, this band, they were big for a while, and they made a big comeback, and I have a new comeback album. It's called Modern English. You've probably heard of them. They had a couple big hits. They're not really a forgotten band, but I thought I'd put them on here, and of course, they're 2 big hits, as you're quite familiar with, which have been played ad nauseum, is, of course, Someone's Calling and I Melt With You. And, of course, both of those, and After the Snow. And this is the After the Snow album. Very, very big album for them. Made a big hit. This is the original, too, which you can see with the face on it, with the cool face. I believe that's the 8040. I think they have 2 different sides. Yeah, one side like that, and then with the face. This is the original pressing, so this is pretty cool. I got the later Record Store Day release that was just released, and was like this album, them playing it now, all the hits on it. So it was really cool. Very cool band. They were very big on MTV, and they were big. They're one of the bigger bands on this list, but very, very cool. Again, Modern English, very cool. The guy who's playing the guitar up here, very cool. Very similar to another band called Level 42, which I don't have anything of theirs right now, but I only just want to do a quick 10 here. We'll do some more maybe in the future. So very, very cool. Modern English. Everyone knows who they are. Now, the next band is a band that I know a little bit more about, and the reason for that is because the next band I'm going to be doing, sorry, I just want to put this back correctly. The next band I'll be doing, of course, had its roots in the 1970s with Frank Zappa and the Mothers, of course, and Frank Zappa, and of course I'm talking about Missing Persons. Now, this is technically their first album, but second, because they had an EP that had Mental Hopscotch on it. This was a great band consisting of Dale Bozio, front person, female singer, Terry Bozio, drummer from, both of them were, and Warren Cucurullo, guitarist. All 3 of them were in Frank Zappa. And of course, this album had some big hits on it. And of course, their first big hit was Mental Hopscotch, and then they did Words. And this has Windows, Destination Unknown, Walking in LA, which is really, really cool. US Drag's pretty cool. Here and Now, Words, and Rock and Roll Suspension, No Way Out. Now, they had another album, Rhyme and Reason, which I have, which is pretty good too. But this was really the big album, Spring Session M. This has the 2 big hits on it, as you can see with the hype sticker. And like I said, very, very cool stuff. I really liked Missing Persons when it came out. I was a big fan. I really loved the drumming of Terry Bozio. Amazing drummer. He was in another band called UK and various other prog and other bands, of course, so obviously very good. Spring Session M was a pretty good hit for them. It did well with the 2 big hits, Destination Unknown and Words. I always liked Mental Hopscotch as being one of my favorite songs from their EP, which I have right over here. Again, they faded fast. Drug problems, broke up. Terry Bozio played with other people, and Dale Bozio and Terry Bozio were married, and I think they got a divorce, of course. What else? But cool stuff. Very tightly played music. Really cool rock and roll. No bass player, by the way. Keyboard player. D. Drums are insane drum beats. Very, very intricate music, but very cool. Her voice was very interesting because she used to do that little crack. She used to crack when she sang. either love it or you hate it. And of course, modern stars today have definitely paid homage to Dale Bozio, including Lady Gaga, who lists her as one of her influences. And you can see it in Lady Gaga's music too. All right, moving along. Another band who played a lot with the Tubes, but were a band called the Motels. And this is, of course, one of the better albums that they have. Really cool. Another female-led band. Very, very cool stuff, the Motels. And I'm going to look through the notes here. The Motels. This is, of course, Martha Davis on vocals. Marty Gerard on guitar. Michael Goodrow on keyboards and sax. Brian Glasscock on bass. And Guy Perry on drums and percussion. I'm sorry, Brian Glasscock on drums and percussion, Guy Perry. Cool stuff. This really had some really cool Only the Lonely's on here. She does a really good version of that. Just a very, very cool band. They were very big in the 80s. She did a duet with Fee Waybill of the Tubes. Really cool stuff. You can check that out on the Tubes album. That was their Inside Outside album, and I believe it's Monkey Time, the song that she does with Fee Waybill. But very, very cool. I've always liked the Motels. I always liked Martha Davis. She's got kind of a cool voice. Very cool, very tied to the 80s. They were very big, like I said, in the college scene. They played a lot of things. You could see these guys for very cheap money or even free once you hit the drinking age. But yeah, they were very, very big, the Motel. So cool stuff, nevertheless. Cool stuff. Moving on down the line. This was, of course, a big band, one of the bigger ones, Spandau Ballet, and this is the album True, with the big hit True on it. And they had a couple other songs, another European band, very electro, syntho, pop kind of thing going on. Very good vocalist, very, very organized and very produced music, but cool. Played in ad nauseum in many, many movies. But Spandau Ballet, very, very good stuff. I've always liked them. I've always liked that the quality, production quality, and the layered landscape of music was just really, really cool. Nice textures, great stuff. I've liked it. Some people think it's lame, whatever, but I like True. I still do it. This thing's a great song. Good album. Here's another band I just recently discovered. I forgot all about them. The Split Enz. This is one of their big albums, True Colors. And this, of course, has their big hit on it. And, of course, their big hit on this album is I Got You, which is really, really big. Very, very cool. This is a really cool album. Another band that textured, layered music. Really, very unique sound. Didn't go very far, but they were very big in the college scene. Very big on, like, what's new for music. If you were the in scene for music, they were cool. And a lot of these bands in the 80s, they were the in bands. They were the cool people's bands. I mean, most people listen to Def Leppard, Motley Crue, or Journey, or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that music. Don't mind you. It's cool stuff. But this was like cool. Music was a little more edgy. It definitely was more experimental, all these bands. So very, very cool stuff. Split Enz. Can't say enough about them. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty good music. Definitely experimental for the time period. Moving on, another band, the last band we're going to do here. Now, they were probably one of the biggest bands in the college scene. I've seen them 3 times, twice for free, once I paid. And, of course, we're talking about Squeeze. And, of course, Squeeze had their first album in 1978, but I'm going to throw it in the 80s because their big hits from the 80s were Tempted by a Fruit of Another, Pulling Muscles from a Shell, Black Coffee in Bed, all that. So, very, very cool. And, of course, this is the album with Pulling Muscles from a Shell, Another Nail for My Heart. And I think, what else is on this one? This one has a lot of good stuff on it. If I Didn't Love You. If I Didn't Love You, I'd Hate You. Great song. Great, great album. Squeeze had a very unique sound. They were almost like 60s Motown-esque sounding, but a very big sound, very cool, but a very fresh, new approach with rock and roll stuff on it. Very, very cool stuff. Really like Squeeze. Can highly recommend it. So those are the 10 forgotten albums or 10 forgotten bands, mostly bands or albums from the 80s. So let me go back in there. Squeeze, Aji Baji, which of course has Pulling Muscles from a Shell. Split Enz, True Colors, which has I Got You. Very big hit on that one. And then Spandau Ballet. True. Cool, very cool. True. Motels. All for One. All for One, as you get it for the referring to the band. Of course, this has good tunes on that one. It has Only the Lonely. Very good version of it. And Missing Persons. And this is, of course, the big Destination Unknown Words. This was their big album. And that's, of course, Spring Session M. Modern English, After the Snow. The big one, of course, with the big hits. I Melt With You. And then I Just Can't Stop It. The Beat. English Beat. Satisfying big shot on that one when I opened up. Aha. And, of course, this is the Hunting High and Low album. That was very, very big. The Alarm EP, technically, EP, with the big hit The Stand. And, of course, we opened up with Adamant, King of the Wild Frontier, with the Burundi V. So cool stuff. So hope you guys like it. Again, this was a little different format, and if please click that subscription button, it would be really help us out here. We'll get people involved. It'd be really great to expand the channel. Again, most of these are available at Max J Records in Fairhaven. If you're interested, you can buy them either online or live in person in Fairhaven. But yes, I hope you like the format of this one, kind of a thematic one. We're going to do a couple of that, and we'll get back to the bands and countdowns, what have you. So until then, stay safe. Doc Vinyl out.